Good afternoon. Good afternoon to the members of the media, and let us thank you for the opportunity to speak to you, not just to you, but to the nation, to bring you some updates following the launch of the movement. I would say a very successful launch that took place on November 16th at the Trade Center. I think we were surprised, I would say, positively surprised at the turnout. I think it surpassed our expectations, and we continued with our journey to North America. As we have iterated on several occasions, the diaspora is a very important component of the Grenadian population, and we thought it fitting to bring the message of the movement to both Toronto and Canada. And of course, we will continue with our journey to other locations that have a sizable Grenadian population, because they have a part to play in national development. So thank you again for the opportunity to speak to us, and we welcome any questions. We believe that it's important for us to speak about the movement, and I would like to reiterate, as I did in a previous opportunity with the press, that we are here to speak about the movement and not about any other politician or any other political party. We are here to bring the message of unity, the message of end to divisive government, the end to politics of fear, and bringing all Grenadians from all walks of life and all political orientations, bringing them together in one room, in one space, so that we can as one people develop our country. To coin it like this, what we have done in the launch is that we have created an attraction. We now need to turn that attraction into a relationship. But I think we have created a good attraction. The buzzword on the ground is the movement. We saw the turnouts. The conversations seem to be around the movement. So we now have to, as a party, we have to ensure that our organizational structures are in place, so that that attraction that we created by the turnout that you saw at the launch, we can now turn that attraction into support and into a party that can take the country to another level in terms of development, and of course in terms of political cohesiveness.
Yeah, I want to agree with my friend Archie that we are now going to go back into the communities. As we've always said, the movement arose from our engagement with people in the villages, under the street lights, under the trees, on the blocks. That is the origin of the movement. The movement, Democratic People's Movement, is just not me and Archie or me and four people sat in a room and come up with a bright idea. No, it arose as a result of our engagements. We didn't go into the engagements knowing how we would come out of the engagements. Having gone into the engagements, we came out with the idea that what we need is a new politics, not simply a new party, a new politics, a new way of dealing with development in this country. And key among the things that we heard is that the country is too divisive, as my brother indicated when he started. It's much too divisive. So we launched the movement. We got an excellent response. As he indicated, people were surprised. I think many people took us for granted, felt that this thing wasn't going to work. I mean, I know some of them still continue to say, no, despite the fact that it's off to a wonderful start, they're still saying it's not going to work, and we're going to show them that it will work. But now the task is to build the movement, and to do that we have to go back into the villages, go back under the streetlights, go back into the communities and build the structure. So we are looking at the young people. For example, we were absolutely elated with the turnout of young people at the launch of the DPM. Young people came because young people have been saying that they see themselves in the movement. For the first time, they're seeing that there's a organization, an entity, a political entity that really represents them. And so we are going to go back to the young people. We are going to go to the women. We had a lovely, excellent women's conference engagement a couple of weeks ago. Many women turned out, and again in the launch, there were many women, and on the stage there were many women also representing the movement. So we are going to go back into the communities, and we are going to start developing the organizational apparatus, as it were, in the constituencies. We're going to develop them with the young people, with the women, with the workers, with the farmers, and we are going to go back out there now to solidify the organizational structure so that we are now able to better represent, better engage, and better deliver the voice of the people on the national stage, because we do believe, and we are going to be doing this not in the typical tribal way. We are going to be engaging everybody. We are not going to ask which party you come from, who are you supporting us, are you not supporting us. That is not going to be the engagement. The engagement is going to be for purposes of hearing what the people have to say. But not only that, having the people come inside of the movement to get involved. We want the movement to really represent the people, not as some politicians do. We know what you want, so come and we're going to tell you what you need. We're going to tell you everything. No, we want you to tell us so that we could come together to organize, to build the movement, to properly represent all of the people, the business community, the workers, the farmers, the youth, the women. Every sector of our population will be well represented within this movement.
Grenada is generally referred to as a two-party state. Why do you believe, well, that is what some of the political commentators and so forth would say. Why do you think that the DPM, or what are some of the factors that you believe that would most likely make the DPM a viable contender in Grenada's political landscape?
Well, you know, everybody who came to the Trade Center last week belonged to a party. Everybody. Well, most of the people came from a party, and then there were some people there who didn't come from any party. But they came there. They came there because they want to hear what we have to say. And why do they want to hear what we have to say after listening to the two major parties over the last 20 years? They want to hear what we have to say because they are all fed up with what they have been hearing. They're fed up with the divisive nature of our politics. They're fed up with the fact that year after year, election after election, it's ding and dong, back and forth. So people want something new. People want to engage with other persons who are going to offer a true path to development. And that's what we're looking at, because quite frankly, we are saying in the movement that the divisiveness of our society is not just political, it's developmental. It's retarding our development because a large segment of our people are not engaged at one time or another. So one party wins, they engage their set, the next party wins, they engage their set, and everybody is going to start over at the end of every election. We want to change that politics. We want to bring the people together. So yes, there are people who believe that it's a two-party state, but I asked them, NDC wasn't always there, was it? Neither was NNP.
Exactly.
Where's the GNP and where's the GULP? They have ceased to exist. So quite frankly, that idea, it comes from people who just are trying to throw a damper on what they're seeing. But when you went to the center, you saw people. I mean, this is not an illusion. I'm not sitting here saying there were people. You saw what took place at the Trade Center. And what took place at the Trade Center is real, meaning that people want to be part of something new. Not just a new party, but a new way.
Type of policy.
A new type of politics, a politics that is inclusive. So while there are people who will use all kinds of arguments, look at what is happening. And I said to them, you don't believe it's going to happen? Just wait, just watch, and if you can, participate. Because I do believe that we need a new kind of politics. And we have always, those of us in the movement, believe that. And I have always believed that we need that kind of united approach to development. If we don't go that path, I worry that Grenada's development will be retarded for many years to come. So,
added to that, we had 26,000 persons who did not vote in the last election. I think those people are looking for somewhere, they're looking for something fresh, something new. So we are here to represent that 26,000 persons who did not vote in the last election, but also those who voted for one of the parties for different reasons, which they may not have attained over the last couple of years, we can feel the fallouts that are happening. You are hearing the complaints, and we are here to bring those persons together, to bring all parties together to say that here is a new offering. The fact that these people did not see it fit to go out and vote, it means that the political offerings at the time were not palatable to them. It did not meet their taste, it did not meet their requirements. We are here to satisfy that requirement and to meet that demographic. And while across the Caribbean, and I think in most democracies, you have two major parties, as Peter just said, let's wait and see who would be the last man standing.
Also, as you mentioned, the parties going on the ground, engaging in the community and so forth, but in terms of the inner workings of the party, in terms of developing that structure and so forth, can you kind of bring us up to speed as where we are at with regards to that?
Well, we have structure already. This movement didn't start on the 16th. It was launched on the 16th, but that is after we've been on the ground organizing people, bringing youth together, bringing women together. As indicated, we've had women activities, we had youth activities in the past. Now we are going to formalize these structures. So for example, our executive will be formalized. We will move to a general council at some stage, a convention at some stage. I'm not sure if it will be called those names, but certainly will be moved to formalizing the structure, not only at the level of the convention and so on, but at the level of the constituencies. Because we do believe that is where all of our energy and our policies will come from. The constituency. So we're urging people to get involved. We're not asking you, as I said with the launch, come as you are. Come listen, come here, come see what we're about. It's a new style of politics. We are not here bashing this one or bashing that one. We are here to say that in order to develop this country, we need to come together and get the ideas of the people on board. And not simply to just govern, but to participate with the people in governance. And I've always said that we need more, for example, we need to make sure that there are institutions in the constituencies where the people can come together. Mm-hmm. One of the difficulties with our society and our governance structure now, people elect MPs and they elect the politicians, and then that's it. Mm-hmm. The participation is restricted to election day. So we have a participatory democracy restricted to one day, election day. What we want to do is to find mechanisms and to hear from the people as to how we develop these institutions in the constituencies so that people are participating all the time. So you want to build a road in an area, you want to build a clinic in an area, you want to do farming in an area as opposed to doing some tourism project in an area. The people must be part of decision making. And I know that we've gotten used to seeing our politicians as knowing everything and expecting them to know everything. We want to give some power to the people in the decision making process. Not only in deciding on who to govern, but to also decide on what should be done while they're governing, particularly for the villages. And that is the kind of engagement we want to have. And we believe that the people are, I think politicians make people believe that they are not capable. Yeah. We want to empower people and show them the capacity. Because the reason why people get disappointed after every election is because they elect people and sit back waiting for the people to deliver who they elect to deliver. We are saying that you elect people, you must have a mechanism to always be with who you elect to ensure that they do what you elected them to do. And you don't have to wait 5 years in order to pull their feet to the fire to make them do what they were mandated to do by you. So those structures are going to be built in our movement. We are going to build the structures on the ground within our movement, and hopefully that will translate into a group of people who really understand that the power lies with the people, and the reason why we are in politics is not for our own egos. It's not for us to be enriched, but we are in politics. And I appreciate people like Archie and the others in the movement. We understand that we are in politics for people. I have lived that life, And I do believe that the people that are working with us now have lived that life and are preparing for a movement that reflects that kind of governance.
We know Johnny just come. We have been involved in community activism and community development all our lives. I think the core of the movement are persons like that, persons who have been involved and engaged with their communities. When last have we seen a parliamentary rep engage with his community in terms of a developmental policy or a particular program? How often do we see development happening in a community and the community is protesting against that particular development because they were not engaged, they were not informed, they were not part of that decision making? Because you know what? Very often we believe we have all the ideas. So we can dispense to them what is good for them as against hearing from the people what they want, what direction they want government. You know, government must be of the people, for the people, by the people. So we have to engage with the people. We have to be bottoms. This is a bottom-up approach. When we hear our policies, while we may pitch some overarching policies, but the details and the development of those policies have to come from the people that these policies are expected to develop and to address.
David, the holes in proposal.
Just one more question I
Find a way to deal with
chance
this.
to.
Find a way
How
to
soon can we expect those engagements to begin? I'm assuming that will also include town hall meetings and so forth. So just kind of.
They have started. They started on the 16th. They continued in New York on the weekend and in Toronto. And they are ongoing. In fact, I think this weekend there is something happening in St. Patrick's. So these are ongoing activities. And for the last few months, people have been asking, where is this movement? Is it really going to happen? This is what was happening. We were engaged in those communities, engaged in developing the organs of the party, engaged in meeting with persons, engaged with developing policies coming out of these discussions. So this is ongoing. It's happening. So it's not when it's going to happen, it is happening now, and that's why we're saying, get involved, get on board, because this train is for everyone.
So can you share a bit more details as to
Details on policy.
Okay, so one of the things we look at in terms of, you're talking about the schedule for community meetings, right? So I'm saying that in St. Patrick's on Saturday, there is an engagement. On the following Saturday, youths are having another engagement. So these events would be circulated. The calendar would be shared. Our Facebook page, our Instagram page, they are now being launched, and those activities will be there. Our website is being launched. So you would see a lot more happening, continue to happen with the Democratic People's Movement in the coming days and coming week. In terms of other policy issues, we are looking at jobs that pays and stays. We are not looking at seasonal type. Very often we have debushing, and we're not going to bash the debushing program. It provides some economic stability for vulnerable people. But we need jobs that are real jobs that keep our people here, jobs that provide some level of dignity to our people. So that's one of the areas that we're looking at. We look at healthcare. That we look at access to healthcare, and we also look at preventative health. Prevention and access. Someone doesn't have to choose between how many meals should I have a day as against should I take my full quota of medication. In other words, you have to take the tablet 3 times a day, but because of the cost, you spread that 3 times a day into 3 days. Or you decide that instead of buying groceries, I have to buy medication. That's not sustainable. We need to develop a healthy nation. So of course, prevention, community healthcare, healthy practices, healthy lifestyles, but at the same time, every Grenadian should have access to healthcare, regardless of your economic position. So these are 2 major areas.
One of the issues that we raised at the launch and we articulated in several of our meetings is, and it's been discussed up and down the country, is the proposal that any young person, when reaching the age 35, under the age 35, would be given a $35,000 grant if it's an individual for purposes of purchasing a house, and if they're a couple with a family, a $50,000 grant for purposes of purchasing a house. And people have asked us why did we choose that? For a couple of reasons. One, young people coming out of school and developing a family or even working on their own, one of the major things that they're looking toward is purchasing a home. And when you purchase a home, it's not just purchasing a home. You purchase a home, it's stability. You have to maintain a job to pay for your mortgage. So your life becomes focused in finding jobs and all of that. In addition to that, you're finding yourself with what's the beginning of generational wealth. You have a house. That house is there. You're paying for the house. In 20 years, 15 years, depending on your mortgage, you finish paying for the house. That house will now be used as collateral for the kids to go to school. So if it's 15 years, when the kids get to 15, use it as collateral, and then you're able to use it also as collateral for the next generation to purchase another house. So it's what we see it as is the beginning of helping young people to develop a life with wealth. And I remember my parents. My parents grew up poor, but one of the first things they bought was a house in St. George's, and that house was used to buy a few cars. So my father started a rent-a car because he grew up without much, and that helped. So we believe if we can provide the facility for a young person aged 35 with $35,000 towards a mortgage, and a family with $50,000 towards a mortgage, it is the beginning of a process of having people develop their independence and to get away from the fact that we always have to reach out for handouts. And I think sometimes politicians like the handout thing because it keeps you coming back. So if we can develop that independence and allow young people, and I'm sure there are many young people outside there who will say, that's a good idea. Some people have been asking how will it be funded? Well, we've estimated that it will be about $500,000. Well, first of all, it's going to be about 1,000 young people that will have to access it. It will cost about $500 million to get it financed. That is only a portion of our national budget, and the benefit from that will far outweigh. The question is not if we should do it, it's what will happen if we don't do it. In other words, we have to look at these things as needs, because the truth is, we budget the things we believe are priority. So we need to budget it because for young people and for developing families and what we call generational wealth, that for us is a way to get that done. Because too many times people go into, I've met young people who say, listen, I really need a house. The financial institutions need this and we can't get these things. So we need to find a way to help them overcome that hurdle. In addition to that, we need to have conversations with financial institutions to become a little less risk averse in helping young people establish businesses. If we can, as I said in the launch, poverty is not only bad for people, it's bad for business. And if we continue along this path, where people are unable to get capital, people are unable to purchase houses, people are unable to purchase land, we are not going to get out of the rut. And we need to start thinking about how do we empower people? How do we make them business persons? How do we have them access capital? And I see it in my own family. My father was able to access some capital, and the one thing he always said was he never went to university. His wife, my mother never went to university, so he used that capital to send all of us to college to study different things. And that started a process. So now you have all the brothers accessing capital through the land or the house that my father bought. So if we can have all families have that access, if we can have all families at least have the potential to develop that, that is the kind of society we need to build. And this is just one of our proposals. We have many other proposals we're going to come with, but that is the beginning of the process of developing policies that lead our young people. And that is why our young people are saying when they look at the movement, they see something that they like. That is why when we went down to the Trade Center last week, we saw many young people because they've heard the proposal. And many of them have reached out and said, what, Peter, I love that proposal because, I've been trying to build a house, I've been trying to get land, I've been trying to do this, but it seems as though the system is not working for us. And that is a problem. have the system work for young people, have it work for working people, have it work for people who want to open businesses, and stop the handout thing where people get to the point where they feel they can only, that's all they can rely on. It's not that people want that, It's they believe that is the only access they have to making any kind of progress. So those are some of the ideas.
Right. And I think not just access to financing, especially for small businesses, but support. Because after that young person receives that financing, where is the support structure to ensure that he has the right guide to ensure that the business remains viable and continues to be sustainable. So and it has to be linked also to our educational system. We don't teach business. We don't teach investment. So in the classroom, it has to start in the classroom, and then it's linked to moving out of the classroom into starting up. We need to create a nation of business owners, not just consumers and not just employees, but persons who can take pride in becoming employers themselves, in becoming business owners, in creating cooperatives within the communities, so that you have real development, real sustainable development. So our education will also be linked to our business programs. Where is the link right now between the provider of financing in local context, that's the development bank, and the support institution, which is the GIDC? Where does these two organizations, where do they sync together so that one provide financing, one provide support to the business, to those small business owners? That's the kind of conversation that we are having. That's the type of policy that we intend to introduce. In terms of opportunities, and that's why we are saying our housing initiative, we believe that can create quite a bit of opportunities. We also have opportunities in business. Renewable energy. This is where we have to go. We have to preserve our country. We have to introduce policies that speak to green energy and so on. But there are also business opportunities coming from those. Solar installation. We are moving into EVs, electric vehicles. Our mechanics have to be retooled. A new breed of mechanics have to come out who would attend to those vehicles. So these are some of the conversations, and these are some of the solutions that we are hearing coming from those persons that we are engaged with.
Just to add, the issue of cost of living as raised by Archie. Cost of living is a big issue for everybody. I mean, you go to the supermarket, I don't know how working families are able to afford their 3 children. In fact, I think people soon they're going to start restricting the amount of kids they make to 1 because it's hard to afford 1, far less more than 1, and that would be bad for us. Population is another issue that we need to address. We don't have enough population to sustain the good economy. So we need to look at all of these things. If people are to make more kids, which is what we need for development, then we need to deal with the issue of cost of living, and cost of living is linked to agriculture. So we believe that we should find ways to guarantee pricing, good prices for our farmers, support for our farmers, because we can't solve the cost of living issue without getting our farming industry going. In other words, getting food out of our ground.
Eating what you grow.
Eating what we grow and all of that. So all of these things are linked. So we are talking about modernizing the agricultural sector, but also the marketing board. The marketing board was set up with an objective. It has been abandoned as in this way that it was supposed to be. That project was abandoned. So we need to look at all of these things, and all of these issues we are raising. Cost of living, as my friend said, is critical, but cost of living is attached to agriculture, attached to businesses. So we need to find a holistic way of looking at our development and bringing our people into that process.
Right. I know you've always raised concerns related to the health sector.
Yeah.
In terms of what are some of the prevailing concerns that you believe that needs to be addressed?
The major concern that we see at the moment is access. Access not only in terms of of the hospital, but access throughout the country, but access to medicines. I mean, too many times, I meet friends, people I know well, and they say to me, listen, I need some help to get medication. I say, are you taking your medication? They say, yes, but I can't take it every day. The doctor says I should take it every day, but I have to take it every other day because I can't afford it every other day. And you know the kind of devastating impact that can have on one's health. So we need to get medicines that are reasonably priced, and that can be done if we engage in bulk buying. And there are other, I know there's some regional initiatives in that regard. We need to strengthen these initiatives. We need to also provide access to healthcare outside of St. George's, into the communities, as we have in St. John's, a lovely clinic that I don't believe is being utilized properly, and that is because you see an NHI, National Health Insurance, and it comes to us, and the divisiveness comes to us in that respect, because NHI had got to the stage, National Health Insurance, where it was about to be implemented. New government came in and they said they have to relook everything. So what happens with our divisive system? And that is why we keep talking about the systemic problems need to be solved. So one government gets in, they say, listen, man, this government is doing that. We can't continue doing that because we spend the whole election campaign criticizing them, so we have to do something new. So they put a pause on NHI, you put a pause on this, put a pause. We need to get men tested. We need to go to the communities. We need to go to the people with a health care mechanism rather than wait for them to come. Because I'll tell you this, most men are scared to take a prostate test. Most men even scared to take their blood pressure because they're afraid you can tell them their blood pressure high, so they can't go out tonight, can't take a drink. You know, they worry that the news is going to be bad and it's going to affect them. So you know what? Let's wait till I'm ready to dead. At least they won't tell me I'm ready to die, so I'll die soon. They don't want to hear bad news. What they don't realize is that the early bad news is better than the late bad news. The early bad news, you can deal with it. So we need that kind of education, but we need to go into the community. Women are much more, because women are always by the doctor, they always for one reason or another, child care and all of that. But for men, we need to develop systems in the communities where the men get tested and then mechanisms to get them to the hospitals in the event that they need it.
And it also go back to education. I have a sister who is a healthcare provider, and she says that if she wakes up in the morning, she look outside and she don't find outside it should be looking that way, she goes to the doctor. See, men, they go to the doctor when they should be stopping at the undertaker. So we have to change that. And that is part of the community engagement. Community engagement should not be just to speak about politics and who to vote for, or to bash another politician. It should be speaking about things that affect people within the community. We see the number of young persons who honor that announcement. We need to find solutions to those things. We need to engage with our communities. We have quite a number of community centers around the island. What are we doing with them? How are we engaging? How are we using those centers to uplift those communities? And this is what we have to do, as against persons trying to take ownership based on which party you support. And you hear that this community center, when government changed, one person is asking for the key. The community centers should be managed by the communities, but they should be used for positive development of those communities.
Final question, I know we are approaching a hour, so one thing I was not clear, I'm not sure if I missed it in the launch. Which is kind of the obvious question, because the general election is constitutional due in 2027. We are at the end of 2025. Is it that the party is looking at 2027 or beyond?
Absolutely, it's not.
You have the date? You have the date?
I think
if you have the date, tell us.
Let me.
2027.
We are looking to 27, but we also look into 26, 27, 28, and we are looking beyond that. We are building a movement that is aimed at addressing the issues of our development. And we will be participating in the next elections. We don't know when it's going to be just yet, but certainly we are going to be ready. We are going to be fielding 15 candidates. We are going to be participating as every other party intends to participate. We are going to be going to all of the constituencies. We are going to be knocking on all doors. We are going to be inviting people not just to support us, but to be part of us, because that is our objective, but not to engage in the tribal politics. We won't be beating up on him, her, or it. We will be letting the people know and inviting them in to our mechanism to help us develop policies that focus on the development of Grenada. So yes, we are being prepared. We are getting ready for that. We have polled this thing. We have this. There's a majority of people outside there who want something new. Of course, it's going to be difficult for people to accept that. We have gotten so used to fighting each other that it's become nearly, as I said at a meeting the other day, people say to me all the time, well, you're too nice to be in politics. And I answer, well, what must I be to be in politics? Like a ruthless killer or something? But so it is as if we treat politics as if it's some kind of blood sport. But I want to say this to a lot of good people out there, a lot of people who want to become engaged. Politics is a noble profession. It is something you can do a lot of good with. Because the truth is, for evil to triumph, it is sufficient for good people to do nothing. So when people get alienated from the politics, when people say, boy, you see this politics thing, I don't want it, what happens? People who are not so well-intentioned end up swarming into the politics. So what are we asking? And I said this to my good friend on television the other night. I said his generation needs to get more involved. And he said, yes, we need to get more people involved. Do not let people bully you into staying out of politics. Do not let the people who go on social media and tell you all kinds of nonsense cause you to stay out of politics. Because they are doing that because they want to dominate politics. Let us not fear. Let fear determine the future of this country. The fact is, you can be a good and decent person, a well-meaning person, and be a politician. Being a politician is not reserved for people who want to just cuss everybody. Politics should be about people, and that is the only requirement, I believe. So, what do I say that to say? I say yes, we are getting involved. In the next election, we'll get involved in the process of developing this country, but we need to get people on board who believe they can contribute, who believe that they have something to offer, not necessarily to be candidate, not necessarily to be in parliament, but simply to offer yourself, men, women, and youth, to offer yourself. Because we have opened doors for people to come. Let us debate. Let us find a path to development. I believe, and I'm entirely optimistic, that there are more good people outside there who want to get involved, but they're scared. They're scared of people going on social media and, cussing their family, cussing their children. I see it all the time. I put out a policy out there, and only answer I'm getting is Peter David this, Peter David that. I said, address the issues. And I want to say to them, no matter how much they come at me, I'm not going to be responding to that. So you're wasting your time. If you believe that attacking Peter David would solve unemployment, I would encourage you. If you believe it would solve cost of living, keep the attacks coming. If you believe it will give young people employment, attack me every minute. But if you believe that attacking me does nothing but fracture our politics, leave it alone. Because at the end of the day, our focus is to develop this country. I will not, and we will not be engaging in that kind of politics that has caused our people not to develop and not to the potential that they're able.
I think you covered it.
Just a follow-up question.
Or follow-up.
Final.
As you mentioned, so in this, has the party been looking at any potential, or engaging with any potential candidates, or is it still the
Absolutely. I mean, if you want to be a candidate, you're welcome to come talk to her.
And you said a while ago, we have to have convention, if it's that you call it. We have to ensure that we have the formal process.
You've seen.
We're not going to sit here and pick people out of the crowd.
You saw some people on the stage last week, and there are many, many more people out there. Many more. But like I said, some of them are taking the time to get out there. But If you want to send in, if you want to talk, let's talk. Just joking. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.